So we have established that this alpha j of scalars is a Cauchy sequence in R or C. Since R and C are complete spaces, so on a complete space, every Cauchy sequence is convergent. On a complete spaces, uh, a sequence is Cauchy if and only if it is convergent. So alpha jm is Cauchy means that alpha jm should be convergent. So we can state that alpha jm should be convergent. So it should converge to some number. Let that number be alpha j. Okay, where j varies from 1, 2, 3, etc. n, because our space has a dimension n. So as associated with that n, we have chosen the scalars. So in particular, we can choose alpha 1n should be a Cauchy sequence which converges to some number alpha 1. Alpha 2n is a Cauchy sequence which converges to some number alpha 2, etc. Alpha nm should be a Cauchy sequence which converges to some number alpha n. So we can find n different numbers alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n by continuing the same argument. Now we define based on this alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n, we define an element y as alpha 1 e1 plus alpha 2 e2 plus etc. alpha n en, which is actually the linear combination of the vectors e1, e2, etc. en. Okay. So since e1, e2, etc. en are the basis of capital Y, every linear combination of the elements should belongs to that space. So Y is a linear combination of e1, e2, etc. en. So we can clearly say that the element Y is actually an element in capital Y. Okay. So now what we have done is we have constructed a sequence ym, and based on that sequence we have defined an element y which is actually in capital Y, our space. Now we will prove that our sequence ym should converge to y. If this happens, ym is an arbitrary Cauchy sequence in capital Y which converges to small y, and small y is an element in capital Y. So every arbitrary Cauchy sequence converges in the space itself. So the space should be complete. So the only thing which we have to prove, or only thing which remains to prove, is the fact that ym should converge to y. Okay. So that's what we are going to establish next. So next we will prove that we will prove that our sequence ym actually converges to y. For that, we take norm of ym minus y. So by the definition, which can be written as norm of summation j is equal to 1 to n alpha j n ej minus summation j is equal to 1 to n alpha j ej, which can be further, if you take the summation common, you can further write it as summation j is equal to 1 to n in brackets alpha jm minus alpha j into each. Now, so now we use the triangle inequality. So this is a sum of n distinct quantities. So we can actually write it in terms of triangle inequality as norm of x plus y should be less than or equal to norm of x plus norm of y. So norm of some constant plus some constant, not some term x1, x2, etc. xn should be less than or equal to norm x1 plus norm x2 plus etc. norm x2. So this can be written as this should be less than or equal to summation j is equal to 1 to n norm of alpha jm minus alpha j into ej. This is actually by triangle inequality. We have finitely many n terms, so you are using this. Now using the definition of norm by the property, so this is actually a constant. So this is actually of the form norm of alpha x. Norm of alpha x should be equal to modulus of alpha into norm x. So this can be written as, so this is actually summation j is equal to 1 to n modulus of alpha jn minus alpha j into norm ej. What we have established is that norm of ym minus y should be less than or equal to summation j is equal to 1 to n modulus of alpha jn minus alpha j into norm ej. This is what we have established. Okay. Now norm of e1 into etc. en. Norm of some vectors is always a scalar constant or it's a real number. So if we take the maximum of that, you can, so I will take k as the maximum of norm of e1 into etc. en. Norm e1 etc. norm en. I can take that. Okay. So which can be written as norm of ym minus norm y should be less than summation j is equal to 1 to n modulus of alpha jn minus alpha j into some terms, okay, which is actually the maximum of this e1 into etc. So I will replace every ej by its maximum. Okay, so this can be written as this. Since we have assumed that alpha jm actually converges to alpha j, we have given that for every j from 1 to etc. n. So we can clearly write it as modulus of alpha j m minus alpha j should be less than any number, less than epsilon by any number. Okay. So from that we can clearly state that alpha jm minus alpha j should go to 0 for j varies from 1 to n. If this goes to 0 for every j, so then its sum should always go to 0. So from that, summation j is equal to 1 to n modulus of alpha jn minus alpha j should go to 0 because alpha jn converges to alpha j for j varies from 1 to n. Then modulus of alpha jn minus alpha j should be tending to 0, which should be less than epsilon, which means that it should go to 0 for j varies from 1 to n. So this happens for every j. So every one of these 10 should go to 0. Then the sum should always go to 0, which means that this quantity should be less than epsilon for every n greater than or equal to some capital N. Or we can write it as norm of ym minus y should go to 0 for all m greater than or equal to capital. How do we get this n? We have assumed that alpha j converges to alpha j, which means that modulus of alpha j minus alpha j go to 0 for all m greater than or equal to capital N. From that, we can clearly find that n as well. So, which implies that the sequence ym actually converges to y. Okay. So, we have assumed a Cauchy sequence. We have taken a Cauchy sequence which is arbitrary in capital Y, and we have found that that Cauchy sequence converges to some value y. That value y is an element of our space capital Y. So which implies that our space Y is complete. Y is complete. Let me rephrase the whole thing. So we have a theorem which states that every finite dimensional subspace of a normed space should be complete. So in particular, every finite dimension normed space itself is complete because every finite dimensional normed space should be a subspace of itself. Okay. So from that first part we can easily understand. So how will we prove that? We take a subspace Y. We have to prove that Y is complete. For that, it is enough to prove that every Cauchy sequence should converge in Y. So we take a Cauchy sequence Ym in Y, and we have to prove that Ym converges in capital Y, or the limit with which Ym converges should be in capital Y, our space. So what we do is here, we generate a limit first, we define a limit, and then we will establish that that limit should belongs to the space, and we will then establish that our sequence converges to that limit. So we have taken a sequence Ym, which is in Y, which is Cauchy. Since we have assumed that our space is finite dimensional, we assume that the dimension of Y is actually n, then it has a basis, finite basis, even into etc. En should be any particular basis. Then Ym is an arbitrary element in capital Y. It can be written as the linear combination of the basis elements with the scalars. Now also we have assumed that Ym is a Cauchy sequence. Then it should satisfy norm of Ym minus Yr should be less than epsilon for all m comma n greater than or equal to n. Now we have replaced Ym by its linear combination and take the summation common. So the summation becomes norm of Ym minus Yr should be equal to summation j, norm of summation j is equal to 1 to n alpha j minus alpha j each. This should be less than epsilon. Epsilon should be greater than this quantity. Now we have a theorem. If a given linearly independent set and any linear combination of that independent set should be greater than or equal to some constant into the modulus of the constant which we have taken. So this is actually alpha jn minus alpha jr is actually a constant. Even if etc. en are linearly independent sets, from that we can easily state by theorem, we can easily state this inequality. Now we replace everything. Epsilon should be greater than norm of Ym minus Yr, which is obtained by Cauchy criteria. Then this part is obtained by theorem from the previous theorem. Now we connect the last and the first part. So what we get is epsilon greater than c into this part. So in general, summation j is equal to 1 to n modulus of alpha j minus alpha j should be less than epsilon by c for all m comma n greater than or equal to n, because we have started from the Cauchy criteria. Okay. Since this is sum of some positive quantity, sum of this positive quantity should be less than epsilon by c means each of these positive quantity should be less than epsilon by c. So alpha j minus alpha j should be less than epsilon by c after a certain stage, which means that alpha j is a Cauchy sequence because we take the constants from real or complex structures. So alpha j is a Cauchy sequence. Since R and C are complete, we can say that every Cauchy sequence should converge. So alpha j is convergent. Alpha j converges to some number alpha j. So j varies from 1 to n because our dimension was n. So alpha 1m is a Cauchy sequence which converges to alpha 1. Alpha 2m is a Cauchy sequence which converges to alpha 2, etc. Alpha nm is a Cauchy sequence which converges to alpha. So we have n different new scalars. From that scalars, we define an element y, which is defined as alpha 1 e1 plus alpha 2 e2 plus etc. alpha n. Now clearly y is an element in capital Y because y is a linear combination of the vectors which is a basis of capital Y. Okay, so now we will prove that Ym is actually an element. Ym is a sequence which converges to Y. For that, we take norm of Ym minus Y, use triangle inequality. Then this sum should be less than epsilon because alpha jm converges to alpha j for every j. So from that we can easily understand that norm of Ym minus Y should go to 0, which means that Ym converges to Y. So we take an arbitrary Cauchy sequence, we found an element Y which converges, which is the limit of Ym, and Y should be an element in capital Y. So we can state that capital Y is